Yes, thank you for that, and good evening to the viewers. It does happen then that in the Eastern Cape we are seeing escalating numbers of COVID-19 and we're catching up with the Eastern Cape. It must be understood that there was an exodus of the Eastern Cape fellows from Cape Town when the farming season was over, and quite a number of those were found to be COVID-19 positive. So we are now bearing the brunt of that over and above our own local spread of the disease.
Sure. What you're talking about happened when we entered level 4, which was about a month ago. So why do you think it has taken so long for it to be able to reflect in the numbers too?
It is my suspicion that we've always had this disease spreading, and it continues to spread. And what we are seeing right now is actually a tip of an iceberg. And now, based on the fact that we have challenges regarding testing, we will never know the extent of the disease in the Eastern Cape province, particularly in the rural areas, where it is very, very difficult to access and do testing in those areas.
I am Lungile Pepeta. I am the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at Nelson Mandela University. The current projects in teaching and learning in the Faculty of Health Sciences is really the major project of interprofessional education. We are in the process of developing interprofessional education unit, and when it comes to interprofessional education, is that then we are teaching we are in the process of teaching students in health sciences together across disciplines. And this is something that has been developing in other institutions and in the world as well. The reason why health sciences professionals need to learn in this way is that they work this way when they qualify. So you'll find that a nurse works alongside with a medical practitioner, who works alongside a pharmacist, who works alongside other health professionals. So therefore, we are now introducing a system where possible in their curriculum, they actually share the learning platform, or they are taught together. That deals now with also the decentralized teaching platform. So in terms of saying, look, our students now need not only learn on campus, also need not learn around the tertiary facilities, but they need to go to the clinics, the community, district hospitals, and all facilities that are either distributed across the metro in the peri-urban area or decentralized, in other words, in the district hospitals and community health centers that are far, far away from campus. One of the challenges is the mind shift. You'll notice that then certain disciplines are used doing things their own way, and you'll notice that they don't want to be part of this transdisciplinarity. The other challenge is that it's a new methodology that takes our teachers out of the ivory tower space of teaching to become more relevant and embed themselves in communities. That comes with the challenges of safety in communities as well, which is a countrywide problem. And it's not only about affecting the higher learning space, but it's a community-wide issue where people are saying, look, but how do we ensure that we're going to be safe when we are there? The other challenge with the model is that it costs a lot in terms of transport, and also it requires the ICT services to be decentralized. So you've got to rethink the model of access to the network for the students. We are about training health professionals that need to improve the health of those that are in need. How can we say we are of service to society if we are not serving them to the rural communities that require the services? This is aligned with the identity of the institution, that we are socially relevant, and therefore we need to be touching on the relevant societies, and we need to be effecting change. We want to say we are an impactful institution, and therefore we are starting in that trajectory as Faculty of Health Sciences. When it comes to the medical campus, the campus will be at Missionville, Doranginza campus. Doranginza will soon become a university hospital, because then there will be a medical program attached to it, or a medical school. We are very excited that we've got this program that is starting up, the medical program. It will be the 10th medical school in the country, which should have full accreditation by 2020. One of our philosophies is that of interprofessional education, and the other philosophy is to train fit for purpose professionals. In other words, that of decentralized training, just so that then they learn in the communities which they have to serve once they've qualified.
Good afternoon, Nelson Mandela University staff and students. As we all know, we are dealing with this coronavirus pandemic. It is difficult times for our institution, for our country, and for the rest of the world. As of yesterday, the cases that are reported in South Africa are still sitting at 116 cases. As Nelson Mandela University, our staff and students are our top priority. Nelson Mandela University has set up a dedicated website on the coronavirus, and in this website you will find information pertaining as to how you deal with the virus. And one of the things you'll find on the website are toll-free numbers, the NICD dedicated toll-free numbers, and you will also find frequently asked questions, and you can ask questions as well, and the university will respond to your questions.
But then he knows the song, so he can.
I greet all of who are contributing and participating in this memorial tribute in honor of our departed colleague, Professor Lungile Pepeta. I particularly would like to recognize our Chancellor, Dr. Fraser Muleketi, our Chairperson of Council, Ambassador Nozipho January Badil, Lungile's family, his friends, the medical fraternity, and his collaborators, and all members of our university, including our entire staff complement, the President of the SRC, and all of our students. We gather here to celebrate the life of Professor Lungile Pepeta. As we do so, we know that as a country and the world, we are grappling with how to heal from the enormous losses that families and communities are facing. As you might be aware, our university has not been spared, having lost colleagues who have also succumbed to COVID-19 and whom we hold in our thoughts today. We also know that our students are impacted and affected. We send our condolences to all our staff and students and their families. The devastating news of Lungile's passing last Friday has not only crippled us at Mandela University, but has also emotionally brought the country and national medical fraternity to its knees. I cannot begin to imagine the depth of loss and sadness for his wife, children, and family. In the past week, and at his funeral in Bizana on Wednesday, the 12th of August, glowing tributes were shared about Professor Pepeta, who has been described by many as a larger-than-life character, with the broadest of smiles and the biggest of hearts. Indeed, he was loved by his patients, his peers, mentees, students and colleagues, family and friends. Our university and the nation is all the poorer without him. Although he only joined our university in January 2017, he has crept into all of our hearts and touched us in numerous ways. In the short space of time that he has been part of the university, the impact of his leadership has been significant and irrevocable. When he joined us, he brought with him extensive experience in working with key stakeholders in the health sector, including national and provincial government. More recently, he helped spearhead the university's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, both internally and at a broader societal level. His passion for his profession, medicine, and his deep commitment to just access to healthcare has been well articulated by all who knew him. Lungile was an outspoken champion of the poor and underserved communities. To this end, Lungile made a choice to return to and serve the Eastern Cape health sector and this university as a practitioner, scholar, leader. We all know he could have gone anywhere in the country and the world. For this, we are grateful. It was his passion that made him the perfect fit for Mandela University's Health Sciences faculty's integrative healthcare education model, and particularly our envisaged medical school with its focus on primary preventative approach to healthcare. In the past few days, following Lungile's passing, I have had to share so much about Lungile and how he impacted all of us. Doing this has been a painful undertaking, which I could never have imagined doing. Words have hopelessly fallen short in properly articulating the impact of this colossus. So I am grateful for all the tributes that are being shared today, which I believe will bind us all together as we remember Lungile in months and years to come. This will also help us to try to piece together elements of his vision so that we attempt to carry it forward. His daughter at his funeral on Wednesday counseled us to let go. For us as his colleagues at Nelson Mandela University, the best way to do this will be to make sure that the nobility of his intentions as a practitioner, as an academic leader, and as a champion of the poor continues to be embedded in our work in health science education and in medical education in particular. I therefore welcome you all to this moment as we remember our colleague. I hope this will go towards an archive to celebrate Lungile's life and work. I thank you.
Good afternoon to the Nelson Mandela University community. It is a very difficult tribute that I am making this afternoon. One, because we have lost a beloved son of the Eastern Cape, a member of the university community. And it's not insignificant that he's from Bizana. It's a place that's associated with giants, like Oliver Reginald Tambo, now Doc Pepeta. As we meet today, and we do so having wept and still in absolute shock by this deep loss, we look at his life, and his life for us is very clearly one that shows a child from rural Eastern Cape who became a world-renowned pediatric cardiologist, but one who never turned his back on either his country, his province, or even his roots with the rural part, with the village. And this is not often seen because he could have worked anywhere in the world per his choice. And as we heard during his funeral service, he was also someone who was always seeking for something new. He got bored with the mundane and monotonous. And that's why Nelson Mandela University was so privileged to have him as the Dean of the Health Sciences faculty. And in his holding that position, he also brought a particular angle to it, where he contributed in a very real and practical way to the transformation and consideration of primary health care as being a part of what should be done. And this was part of bringing the interdisciplinary practice to reality, to life, and ensuring that everyone in health sciences work together and work together in impacting on the community. I think a second thing that comes to mind for me is the whole issue of ensuring that that health education and that healthcare transformation is seen as a human right. And what more significant than during this moment of COVID-19 that we realize the importance of it. The last point I want to say about his achievements, and I've seen this on social media over the days since his untimely death. I mean, as I said, he's been viciously torn away from us. There's many a mother who has said, and a parent for that matter, who said that my child's heart is beating because of Dr. Pepeta. And I think that is such a great tribute, that much as he's passed on, he will live through those many children. But I think for us as a university, the big challenge is that we must make his legacy live. We must make it work. We've got to make it a reality. And we can only do so by ensuring that everyone around the Eastern Cape, South Africa, and Africa as a whole must feel the impact of this giant who was part of our university. And this is through the words of Nelson Mandela: ensure that education as a weapon is used for the overall good of man. So today, I also bow my head. I join those who have been shedding tears because of the greatness of the young man that we had to lay to rest much too early. And as I've previously said, in the words of John Donne, death, be thou not proud. For us, our loss is one where we will lift his legacy by making the medical school a reality and the interdisciplinary parts of health sciences live in the communities of the Eastern Cape.
Professor Pepeta's passing has been a monumental loss to his family, at home, his siblings, his colleagues, all of us at the university, the academic staff, the non-academic staff, and the entire community of Nelson Mandela Bay. This morning we heard everyone speak about our professor with so much love and respect and adoration. And we are deeply sorry and wish to express on behalf of Council our sincerest condolences to his dear wife, Dr. Vuyo, his children, his siblings, and everybody else who is either his immediate family or his extended family. May the grace of our universe also really comfort them for the loss that they have felt. We have felt it with them, but obviously we cannot feel it the extent to which they do. We in Council who are responsible for the governance of the institution, the Nelson Mandela University, we in Council knew Professor Pepeta fairly well. He was responsible for making sure that the hospital was being built. He had a plan, he had a vision, and he was so certain that he was going to implement what he was responsible for. He came to the Council always impeccably prepared and delivered his presentations with confidence, with knowledge of his craft, but he was never arrogant. He was respected, we trusted him. We knew that this project that was so massive was in the best hands that it possibly could be. And so we thank Professor Pepeta for everything that he did for the Nelson Mandela University. He was a man of great stature. He carried himself with confidence. And he gave us the confidence in Council to feel that he knew what he was doing and that he would really meet the promise of performance that he had given to us as an oversight function. He worked very well with the Vice-Chancellor. There was a deep sense of respect between them. And he also built a great deal of trust with all his colleagues at the university. And so we will miss him very deeply. We will miss Professor Pepeta because he taught us the value of humility. He taught us the value of commitment. He taught us the value of authenticity and being true to yourself. He was never inauthentic. He was never affected. All he was to keep his eye on the ball and made sure that he delivered what he had promised. And he did it because he understood why, not what we were doing. He understood why that university had to be, the university hospital had to be completed. He understood why he had to develop a multidisciplinary learning and teaching curriculum for his school. He understood why the hospital had to be built in Mission Vale. And that is what drove him. And that value of understanding the purpose is one thing that I certainly have learned from Pepeta. As council members, he modeled what governance and management and responsibility was all about. He modeled it all the time. We always felt respected by him, but we also felt that he took us seriously as a governing body and that we were partners. We were not some oversight institution that had come to inspect him, but rather we were a body that were there to support what he was doing, along with the Vice-Chancellor's vision. And so I wish to say thank you so much to the family for having shared this great man with us, for having supported him through his responsibilities at our university. I want to thank him on behalf of all of us on council for really, as I said earlier on, modeling what good, responsible leadership is all about. He led from the front, and he was not afraid of leading from the front. He wasn't one of these leaders who call themselves leaders but don't know how to lead. He really knew what he was doing. And we will always miss him for the person that he was and for the deeds that he did. And the whole of Nelson Mandela Bay, we know, will miss him because people felt the impact that he had in that community. We wish him peace wherever he is. We are sure that he will come across both Utata Madiba as well as Utata Sisulu, who both are so central to that region, that together they will look down and at us who are doing the work and give us their blessings. And we hope that the professor will rest in perfect peace. We are so moved by his passing that we wish his family all of the best.
We met accidentally, not accidentally. The nice thing when we met was that we're applying for residencies. There was a nice classification there of students according to categories, academic categories. Then A's, B's, and so on. So we're in the same category. So we happened to be together, and then he became my neighbor. Then from then on, we became friends, and then it appeared that our backgrounds were similar. He went through medical school, and immediately on arrival, he was exhibiting high levels of leadership and inspiration, and we appointed him as a faculty rep. We were in that group, a group of 4. He was a disciplinarian, very good, very intelligent, and organizing us, because we were still scattered all over the university. When it's study time, when we have to cross night, when we have to submit assignments, Lungile was on top of everything. Then we qualified in 1997. Then he remained in Mthatha General Hospital. We left to various areas. He did his internship at Mthatha General Hospital. And then after his internship, there was a law that was introduced by the then Minister of Health, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, introducing community service. He got recruited to NMU. At the same time, he was being invited to head the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital in Joburg. But the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital offer was actually taking time, and then he was more interested in the local one to become Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at NMU, which was the first of its kind for such a young professional, which we actually applaud, and we are so inspired by his story and the success that he has achieved at only age 46. He was a scholar, a dedicated scholar, someone who's too much deep in research, someone who is well organized, and whatever he does, he finishes. If I were to take it further, I would say he was like a child who's got ADHD. He gets tired easily of doing the same thing over and over. He wants to do this thing, and then his brain will get excited and do another thing. As a result, he has produced a minimum of 8 pediatricians at Dorangenza during the few years, the 7 years at Dorangenza Hospital. 8 pediatricians produced, and they are planted all over Eastern Cape. He has produced a minimum of 4 pediatric cardiologists. He got married to Nolvuyo from Ngomo, Umastatu. They got blessed with 2 kids. He's got a daughter who's about 16 years, and then the young son was about 7 years. And he was so much close to his daughter, Ukungao, and the son is Lungaga. And it's so unfortunate that he had to pass on at such an early time of his life, but we'll have a story to tell to the kids. One thing about him, he was so brave. He was so brave even when faced with death. I was chatting with him almost on a daily basis on WhatsApp while he was still in hospital, noting that he died of COVID-related illness, but we were not allowed to visit hospitals. Even the wife was allowed only 2 times to visit him, which was fortunate. But on WhatsApp, you would actually think that Lungile was fine. He fought a good fight against COVID, but unfortunately, we lost him. but we have learned a lot of lessons, and we'll make sure that his legacy doesn't die. It will go on and on and on. One thing I have on my phone is a message from him while he was still in ICU, where he was celebrating on the 16th of July, which was his birthday. He was celebrating getting accreditation for the medical school from the Health Professions Council. He said, this is the best present that I got on my birthday, just getting accreditation for the medical school. So we're looking forward that he was going to open the medical school in 2021, but unfortunately that dream is still in the pipeline and we have lost him. Now we're looking at continuity. We hope and wish that whatever sweat he has put into the medical school, whatever amount of investment and intelligence and sweat he has put into that medical school never goes to waste, and it actually does what he had actually intended to. We know as a family, Lungile is not all lost, but will continue to live within us, and his dreams will continue to actually live further, and his legacy will last forever. May his soul rest in peace.
While the journey of this son of Bizana may have taken him to some of the most prestigious universities and hospitals in South Africa, ultimately Professor Pepeta came back home to Eastern Cape to make a difference. This was not by coincidence. From his first day in the Faculty of Health Sciences, it was clear that Prof. Pepeta was an unstoppable force intent on ensuring that the people of Nelson Mandela Bay, the Eastern Cape, and indeed South Africa has equal access to the health and care they are entitled to, regardless of their social status or where they lived. We all witnessed this force for good through his unwavering advocacy against poor service delivery, be it battling staff shortages in Port Elizabeth hospitals, fighting to secure life-saving equipment for babies, or recently in pointing out the shambolic response to COVID in our province. It may seem strange to some that this specialist pediatric cardiologist would have such a mantra, but Prof. Pepeta walked the talk and passionately commit our faculty to producing the type of professional not only capable but also willing to serve in a primary healthcare orientated health system. Moreover, as many who knew him would attest, this passion was drawn from an unapologetically bold vision for this faculty and its path towards world-class health professions education and clinical research. Today, our renovated Missionvale campus stands testament to this vision, with the faculty welcoming students from the Nelson Mandela Fidel Castro Medical Program, who in turn will soon be joined by our very own medical students. These achievements will always remain closely associated with his dedication and hard work. Besides his ever-present smile, we will also remember him for his personal connection with our students and staff. His unique ability to recognize, include and value all those around him was legendary. He touched and changed so many lives. The positive lens through which he viewed life, and indeed his life's work, was so inspiring that it infused us all with energy to do more and better. Undoubtedly, our faculty is a better place today for his leadership and trust in both staff and students to deliver on his bold vision. To his wife, Dr. Pepeta, his beautiful children and family, we share in your grief and loss and reassure you that we remain committed to seeing his vision through to honor his legacy at this institution and to the people of South Africa.
It is with a profound sense of loss that I share this tribute of our beloved Dean, Professor Lungile Pepeta, on behalf of the Executive Management Committee of the Faculty of Health Sciences. Prof. Pepeta demonstrated a transformative leadership approach underscored by great humility and compassion. He had a gentle kindness at the core of his personality, was never selfish with words of affirmation, recognizing and harnessing the potential of each member of the faculty, often demonstrated by getting us involved in projects or his big dreams that he would call them, that at the time would seem so far out of reach until we completed it ourselves and saw the same potential he always identified in us. Prof. Pepeta had a brilliant mind, and his conversations always left us feeling inspired to dream bigger for our faculty and for ourselves. True to his visionary nature, his eye was always on the future of strengthening health sciences education in a collaborative manner, which he would discuss with much excitement. One will always remember him for his vision of the expanded health sciences faculty at the Mission Vale campus, which he affectionately named the Cathedral. He was a passionate leader, often lifting up the needs related to equitable and accessible interprofessional health sciences education, and advocating for such matters with great conviction, boldness, and truth. Prof. Pepeta's infectious personality filled any space from his wide smile and charming sense of humor. He took the time to listen, and to listen deeply, and was relatable to everyone, making each member of the faculty have a sense of belongingness. And through this he has facilitated us in being a more cohesive and stronger health sciences family. Prof. Lungile Pepeta has left indelible footprints in our lives and careers, in our hearts and minds, and his enthusiasm for life will be greatly missed by every member of our health sciences faculty. His legacy lives on as we continue to further his work in the faculty, underpinned by the same compassion, advocacy, and innovative attributes characteristic of Prof. Pepeta. We extend our sincere condolences to his dear family. Rest in peace, our beloved Dean, our mentor, friend, brother, and gentle leader.
As a faculty, we are deeply saddened by your passing, and we mourn the loss of a visionary leader, gifted scholar, selfless servant of the people, and a loving father. A humble man that was very courageous, and we truly privileged to have been part of your journey. We honor you, a man who lived his name, Lungile, the good one, goodness, kindness. You truly epitomized your name every day. A gentle giant with a big heart that was kind, humble, spontaneous, fun-loving, and straightforward. To say it in your words, Prof, it is what it is. You joined this institution and our faculty in 2017 to drive the establishment of the 10th medical school in the country. You will sadly not be with us when the ribbon is cut, but know that your exemplary leadership, energy, integrated problem-solving approach, and tireless drive led to the pursuit and completion of the Mandela University Medical School, bringing it to ready-to-launch status. Your vision of the cathedral epitomized the sacredness and stature you attributed to the quality of care our people are so deserving of. Prof. Pepeta, we watched you bear your cross daily with your immense contribution to society and academia. your unwavering love for humankind, touching the lives of many families and those close to you, especially in the university and faculty. We are saddened by your passing. Nonetheless, it is well. We will miss your smile, infectious laughter, and humor at the Faculty Management Committee meetings. You were able to lift our spirits with easy banter and humor that made some very long meetings seem like a breeze. Thank you for being a father figure to our students. Thank you for empowering and inspiring us, the staff of the Faculty of Health Sciences, especially your HODs, or rather, my HODs, as you so fondly refer to us. You were an approachable people's person that respected everyone that crossed your path. This was evident in the respect you gave to the general worker as you did the VC. Social standing and status never determined the worth you attributed to people. Farewell, our dearest colleague. When you pass through the golden gate of heaven, hand in your cross and pick up your crown. As you lift your crown, watch over us. Your teachings, love, and values will remain inscribed in our hearts and minds, and your name will be immortalized in generations to come. A fitting African proverb.
Isitya esihle asidleli.
In the words of Nelson Mandela, when a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. A quote aptly suited, as Professor Pepeta certainly set an example of living with purpose. Rest easy, family man, man of integrity, gentle giant, and selfless leader of all times.
Prof. Lungile Pepeta was a blueprint, an activist, leadership par excellence. He was very firm yet such a compassionate man. He was a beacon of hope not only to the students of health sciences but to each and every student who has had the privilege of being touched by his personality. He's been a groundbreaking activist and a pioneer in the struggle of access and success. His passion is deep-rooted in his fundamental understanding of the plight of the most marginalized of students. If I can just recall, in one of his experiences, is how passionately he's formed part in supporting initiatives such as Operation Siyangena of the SRC, which is an initiative that is aimed at assisting students who were just like him at some point in their lives, those who are in the most rural of areas, in the most marginalized of areas, struggling to access internet, struggling to access libraries, and can't even afford to apply to universities. He was one of the deans who came out at the forefront, who said that I'm going to back this as a Dean of Health Science and ensure that the SRC continues with this recruitment strategy of ensuring that those marginalized students are then able to access an institution such as Nelson Mandela University. He was equal to none in his ability of resource mobilization, particularly for his students at health sciences. He was a strategist of note. And what I'd like to remember him, in calling him what I'd like to call a social cardiologist. He wasn't only a cardiologist in his profession, but he was a social cardiologist because he had an ability of touching your heart through his wisdom and his personality. What we remember more about him was his vision of interprofessionalism as a fundamental strategy in improving the primary health care of the Eastern Cape and also the medical school of Nelson Mandela University. This medical school was particularly positioned at Missionville campus because of the primary role that it had to play in producing medical students that would be in touch with their realities and their surroundings, right there at the center of those who need basic primary health care, the Missionville community, the Izinyoga community, and the Govan Begi community. And this was the kind of man which he needed to drive such a mission, and he did successfully. It's so unfortunate that today he won't be here to see the final cutting ribbon ceremony of it. But one of the biggest honors that he has left is that legacy. And we hope that as part of the university that legacy will continue. It will continue to resonate amongst the students of health sciences. Not only those students who will be the first medical students of Nelson Mandela University, but that legacy is ought to continue in the nurses, the EMS students, the dietitians, and the radiography students. This is what he envisioned of an interprofessional field that is able to contribute equally and uplift the primary healthcare of the Eastern Cape and the people of the Nelson Mandela Bay. And with these words, I'd like to join the rest of the country, the rest of the Eastern Cape community, and the rest of the Nelson Mandela University family in saying, Lala ngoxolo mthembu, Lala ngoxolo mbondelihle. Indeed, liyinene liyinyaniso lithi isitya esihle asidleli.
It is my privilege to pay tribute to the late Professor Lungile Pepeta on behalf of the Deans of Faculty at Nelson Mandela University. Lungile was a popular addition to the deanery in January 2017. His reputation preceded him as a pediatric cardiologist out of the top drawer and a person committed to the health of the Eastern Cape and the country. His appointment caused much excitement and he became the symbol of the university's aspirations to establish a first-rate medical school linked to Dora and Ginza Hospital, an institution he has served with such distinction. So the expectations were high. A scholar with the intellectual ability to lead the Faculty of Health Sciences at the university while maintaining close links with the medical profession and seized with the mammoth task of translating a bold vision into reality. With Lungile, we received all of that in abundance and were gifted with a colleague who understood the rules of academia as well as the social significance of giving birth to a medical school in this part of the Eastern Cape. What we were perhaps unprepared for was the disarming smile, the genial nature of his personality, his warmth, positivity, steadfastness, and natural inclination to operate in service to society. His engagements at the deanery were imbued with professionalism and respect, with a warm smile and naughty chuckle never far away. He seemed to carry whatever personal or work challenges that he faced with equanimity. As such, he epitomized the mission of our university and represented the best we had to offer, a fearless servant leader bent on improving the lives of his people through education and the provision of healthcare, and blessed with the rare ability to genuinely prioritize the needs of broader society over anything else. Allow me to share some thoughts as received from some of the other deans and deputy deans at the time of his passing, and I quote, "After meeting Lungile for the first time at the Dean's Breakaway, I immediately felt seen, heard and understood. This was his gift, to make people seen, heard and understood. He was able to establish instant rapport with those around him, a gentle giant with an enormous, compassionate heart. I find myself smiling when I think of Lungile and his joyous, infectious persona. He embodied the Hippocratic oath of first do no harm and putting the welfare of all those who encountered him first. I recall after first seeing him at a workshop, I saw him a few weeks later at the lifts and he remembered my name and greeted me warmly, inquiring how I was. I was a bit thrown, wondering how the dean remembered my name when we did not really even speak, but I realized later that this was just how humane, humble, warm and caring he was. And at the same time, being a scientist and visionary. What a blow for us all." Those are just a few of the tributes that have been circulating amongst us as we picture our smiling colleague in the settings in which we encountered him, either sharing a laugh with us at a university function, or immaculately dressed in black tie for an event, or animatedly convincing us of a point at a meeting, or walking arm in arm on the Mission Vale campus, casually chatting about his dreams of a unique medical school, or proudly displaying his Mandela pin on his dean's gown while sharing sweets as we trooped onto the stage at graduation. The university has drawn inspiration from the leadership qualities of Nelson Mandela himself in crafting its core values. These include diversity, excellence, Ubuntu, social justice, and integrity. But living up to all of this in practice has proven to be a very tall order. Lungile's time with us has painted a picture of how this might be a lived reality for all of us, being the servant leader that our Vice-Chancellor often speaks about. We can commit to drawing inspiration from his example and from his life. A man who lived life to the full while serving others, committed to improving the world for those around him. A professor with big dreams and great compassion. Lungile's loss has hurt all of us deeply, and we will never forget him. Least of all when we set foot onto the medical school, which will forever be associated with him. We offer our sincere condolences to the family, to our colleagues in the Faculty of Health Sciences, and to the entire university community. Thank you.
Life is full of contradictions. There is day, there is night, there is sunshine, there is darkness, there is sunrise, there is sunset, there is life, there is death. In the case of Lungile, the contradiction between life and death was unfortunately resolved in favor of death. On the 7th of August 2020, Lungile's heart ceased to beat. Lungile is no more. Our brother, our colleague, a father to his children, a husband to his wife, a brother to his sisters, a father figure to many, a father figure to his students, a colleague to many of us, is indeed no more. It is said that he has departed this earth without saying to us goodbye. But such is life. We're paying tribute to a great man who truly loved his people, a great man who truly served his people, a great man who was indeed committed to humanity. Lungile was like a brother to me. His last message to me on the 19th of July, of course, I did not know that this was his goodbye message. He had said to me, it was difficult in the last few days, but he's on his recovery path. And then he said, he's looking forward to coming back. And I said, be strong, look after yourself. Not knowing that was my goodbye to him. We say, rest in peace, Ngwane. Rest in peace, Mdam. Rest in peace, my brother. In you, we truly had a people's public intellectual. In you, we truly had a people's doctor, a people's medical professional. In you, indeed, we had a conscientious development activist. You have done what you needed to do whilst you lived. You have not done what you could not do. What's done is done. What's done cannot be undone. We will continue with the journey that you have started. You have done your part. We, the living, have got a responsibility to truly indeed deepen your legacy. Ulale ngoxolo. Enkosi.
Good
Good day to all of you. This is an opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the university. The nature of a vote of thanks at a memorial will vary depending on the person and the context. In this case, Professor Pepeta was a legendary figure that loomed large in life, and these are extraordinary times, making this task even more challenging for all. It is indeed a very sad time for all of us, both at the university and beyond, as we mourn Lungile's passing. The tributes that we have heard, read, and seen during the drive-by memorial at his home in Port Elizabeth were filled with consistent awe, admiration, and gratitude for a colleague, a friend, a doctor, and a good human being. The visible respect, kindness, and emotion filled with grace and gratitude is a direct reaction to the human connections that Lungile made with people from all walks of life. His charismatic personality was infectious with all that he met. These past few days have been testament to the public displays of love for Lungile. Truly, a pediatric cardiologist who had the ability to touch the hearts of more people than just his patients. The past week has seen many memorials, prayers, tributes, articles, obituaries, and posts across social media that have encapsulated the gravitas and the gentleness of his finesse, knowledge, and call to action spirit that puts others first. One of the ways we can say thank you to Lungile is to continue this legacy of that action in his work in the university and the faculty, with our students, staff, and all other stakeholders. The past week has been filled with intense emotion, but also robust planning to create the opportunity for all of us at the university to convene as community in being part of the funeral that was live streamed on Wednesday, 12 August, in his hometown of Bizana in the Transkei. Today, we congregate in a virtual way to share our memory of this gentle giant. Much thanks must first be given to his wife, children, and family for their support of Lungile's vision for his work and legacy at the Nelson Mandela University. His energetic and passion-filled plans came to life as he enrolled us into new ways of creating in the faculty and the imminent launching of the medical program. Secondly, we wish to thank and pay homage to all his staff and students in the Faculty of Health Sciences, where he found a home in the university. May we all be deeply encouraged to continue the practice of care that was instilled by Lungile. You are better for having worked with your dean. We wish to thank the wider university community for supporting and encouraging Lungile along his path while he was with us. The different cogs all play a part in the success that we all can be proud of and enjoy. Thanks is also given to all the different stakeholder groups in the metro, province, city, and across the globe that have enriched Lungile's practice and being as a professional and a person. The university is strengthened from these partnerships and relationships. As Lungile would famously say, it is what it is. And now we are left with his bold plans, and it is now up to us to ensure that this vision that Lungile had for the medical program and faculty will come to fruition. We pledge as much to you, his family, the country, and the very communities this vision is aimed at serving. A wise person once said, "The best measure of a life well lived has less to do with the number of years we live or by our accomplishments, but more to do with how others' lives were lovingly touched by our presence." We are grateful that Lungile's life was well lived as he touched so many people. We give thanks for the time that he was with us, the impact that he has had on our lives, the lives of students, and for the work that is going to continue as his legacy. Thank you very much. And this concludes our memorial program. Let us all stay safe by washing our hands, wearing a mask, and observing social and physical distancing. It is in our hands.